Industry 4.0 technologies such as artificial intelligence, the Internet of Things, and blockchain are transforming the manufacturing and logistics sectors. Experts predict that by 2030, the industry could be worth $666 billion. The manufacturing sector in Africa has substantial potential as the continent works towards recovery post-pandemic. Join us as we explore the latest technological advancements and their impact on the manufacturing and supply chain industry. At this event, attendees will have the opportunity to hear from industry leaders on topics such as digital supply chain transformation, data analytics, AI, and machine learning.
It's a conversation about embracing innovation, fostering collaboration, and investing in digital transformation.
The next era of manufacturing will be additive manufacturing. That is the 3D printing.
There is no dreamer who is too small, and there is no dream that is too big.
Welcome to the Smart Industry Virtual Forum 2024.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on where you are watching us from. Ladies and gentlemen, we would like to welcome you to the Smart Industry Forum 2024. We are glad and honored to have each and every one of you joining us for this particular forum, and I can assure you that this is going to be a forum that is going to be a game changer and a pace setter, especially when it comes to the logistics, manufacturing, warehousing, and also the supply chain industry. We all know that Industry 4.0 is definitely changing the game, where we are having discussions such as AI, Internet of Things, and also blockchain that are definitely changing the way we approach manufacturing and logistics. I am confident that this forum is going to be the best place where we can be able to engage and take a deep dive on these conversations. My name is Ian Mwerore, and I am going to be your moderator for today, and I am equally excited about the speakers that we have lined up, the panel discussions that are in store, and the topics that we are going to delve in. Thank you for joining us, and we are excited about this. Ladies and gentlemen, to give us the welcome remarks and the opening remarks is a serial entrepreneur, an ICT consultant, an e-government strategist, and a visionary tech enthusiast. He is the director and CEO at DX5. Up next is Mr. Andrew Karanja.
Good morning. Thank you, Ian, for the introduction. Distinguished guests, welcome. The theme for this year is driving innovation and resilience, the future of manufacturing and supply chains in Africa. This forum is designed to be your compass as we navigate this dynamic landscape. During this event, we will gain insights into leading figures in smart manufacturing like Prasanna Buri, the group CIO and CISO of Dangote Industries, Nurdin Popala, head of information technology at Industry and Medical Glass Nigeria. We'll also then delve deeper in a panel discussion moderated by Caro Odero, who is the head of content at DX5. Our esteemed panelists, Naum Kerubo, Gilbert Mutai, and Isaac Mwangi will explore the transformative potential of Industry 4.0 and the likes of AI, IoT, and blockchain. Just to conclude, it's the future of manufacturing is one of the of immense potential. By embracing innovation and overcoming challenges and harnessing the Industry of 4.0 in Africa, we can emerge as major players in the global landscape. Throughout the day, we will encourage you to engage active discussion, share your experiences, and forge valuable connections. Africa is poised for a manufacturing renaissance, and this forum is an opportunity to equip yourselves with the knowledge and the tools at the forefront of this exciting future. Let's embark on the journey of discovery together. Thank you and welcome.
All right, our next topic is going to be on harnessing digital transformation for sustainable growth in Africa's industrial sector. To guide us on this discussion, ladies and gentlemen, is a Group Chief Information Officer and the Chief Information Security Officer at Dangote Group. Up next is Prasanna Buri.
Morning, everyone. Hey, Dan, can you hear me?
We can hear you, Prasanna. We can hear you. Thank you.
Excellent. Great. Thank you so much and appreciate it. Thank you very much for having this event, very pertinent for the times that we are in. And I'm honored to be here, CIO Africa stage. Today's topic is one that's very dear to my heart. I've been on this journey for more than a decade. There's some echo coming in. Can you just a minute?
By the grace of the Lord.
Can you hear me okay now?
Yes.
I'm getting a feedback. Okay now?
Prasanna, we can hear you clear.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think if others could mute themselves, that'd be great. Okay. So this topic is one that's really dear to my heart. I've been on this journey for about more than a decade. I have the privilege and honor to be working at Dangote Group, Lagos, Nigeria. Some of you might have heard our founder, Aliko Dangote, who is esteemed in the region for his enterprising spirit to build industry in Nigeria and in various African countries. Automation, digitalization is a key lever for us in our organization. I'd like to touch upon what I observe in Africa as happening, what are the industry trends, and I would like to share a bit about our own journey in this transformation towards Smart Industry 4.0 and broader digital transformation. So what are we talking about? You know, what is this Smart Industry 4.0? And what is this journey all about for us as we stand today? We are at the intersection of a massive technological exponential innovation that's happening today. We have generative AI, which has taken off big time. And combined with that, we have the quantum computing, which is reaching a stage of maturity. And then you have some impressive things happening with automation and robotics. If you watch news closely, some of the impressive robotic technology that showcased most recently by NVIDIA, by Tesla, by the likes of Sony, Hitachi. These are moving from being prototypes to real world tooling. And in fact, some businesses like Amazon and a few FMCGs, Walmart, Target, etc., and also Alibaba and likes, they have been leveraging this automation for their warehouses, for their logistics operations, so on and so forth. So the technology that we see in journals and podcasts has now come to become a reality, and it is within our reach. Being in Africa, we face a lot of challenges, especially with the supply chain, with resources, with talent, with infrastructure, very frequently. And I see this as a key differentiator for us in this next decade and forward, to overcome some of the hurdles that that are seemingly unsurmountable, and embark on a journey of productivity, innovation, and economic prosperity. So this is exciting. The automation is actually a great thing for us. The only thing we have to figure out is how to do right kind of investments and how to upskill our talent. So I'd like to touch upon some of the key themes. Now, if you see the African manufacturing trends over the past 3 decades, there has been actually a decline. And if you see back in 2015, 2006, in that 10-year period, there was actually somewhat higher trend of manufacturing compared to what we are seeing now. Agriculture continues to be the dominant sector, but the African share of global manufacturing continues to be minuscule, while our consumption is predominantly from imports, with very little manufacturing that's happening. If you see the number of African countries that are manufacturing more than $10 billion worth of goods, or 50 plus African countries, we have close to about 12 plus. And then if you see the manufacturing contribution to GDP, it's mostly hovering around somewhere between 12% to about 25% for different countries. By all stretch of imagination, this is bound for a big change with the coming decade. You know why I say that? We see it now. Now, the main challenges that we need to solve to get to the destination that we want to get to is addressing the issues that we have on various levels with disrupted supply chains. COVID-19 has exposed to us, and also it kind of also, while it was challenging for us, but it's also gave us the glimpse of it showed us the art of the possible. You know, we were able to regroup, rehash, reorganize, rearrange our ways of doing things in the field, and we were able to quickly scale back, especially in our geographic context. So, but still, we still see some aspects of supply chains, they still haven't recovered. Certain patterns of consumer behavior, they haven't come back. So it still is a disruption nevertheless. But we like to see the positive side of the disruption. And we want to use this as a lever for the next one, which is a technology transformation. So the Industry 4.0, till recently, we were talking about 3.0 with IoTs, the connected things. But now the 4.0 is dominated by themes of generative AI-based automation, with AI, with robotics, and also we might start looking at on the horizon the quantum computing, the scale of quantum computing. We already touched upon the additive manufacturing. Additives are a big thing, 3D printing. It also greatly simplifies the supply chain challenges. The advancements with material science, with nanotechnologies, combined with the 3D printing, are significant game changers, especially where significant logistics are a challenge. Getting a part uh, produced in some part of the world, be it Japan or China or North America, and importing it, it's a significant overhead, and especially if you take some larger parts, add the travel costs. So the beauty of having abundant raw materials that we have, I think, can help us surmount this challenge. Now, sustainability with production is another big challenge. Africa, we still use a lot of conventional sources for generating power, and the world is changing dramatically with the environmental consciousness, with sustainability, with community health, with the safeguarding where we live. So sustainable production is also a challenge, and more challenging because it also increases the cost. You have to take adequate environmental safeguards, which can increase your overall cost. Then the consumer preferences are also changing. We have Generation Z that is in vogue, and the millennials are also a dominant presence. Africa especially is dominated by millennials and Generation Z, which is entering the workforce big time. And their preferences are somewhat different from the previous generations. So even the industry is trying to adapt to these trends and figure out how to produce in accordance with their preferences. Another big challenge we see is the talent attrition. We see a lot of people in Nigeria, we call that JAPA. A lot of people moving to greener pastures because we have seen a good level of talent base, talent creation. People have acquired some advanced skills, especially in technology, STEM areas, in engineering, in medicine, in sciences, biological sciences. So now they are finding attractive opportunities, and this talent is attractive to North America, Middle East, and Western Europe, and they're much desired. And you see people every year are leaving in thousands and thousands. So this is also posing a significant challenge for us who are building manufacturing hubs, building commercial spaces. It creates a lot of vacuum in terms of right kind of talent. So workforce upskilling is a challenge that we need to overcome. So these are the key issues that we see that we need to address to be well equipped for the Industry 4.0. Now, the conundrum with the manufacturing, manufacturing is pivotal. As much as we see that the agri sector is the backbone and continues to sustain many of our economies, but what is at the crux, according to Nicholas Kaldor, a researcher and in this area, is the productivity in manufacturing drives growth in agric and growth in services, right? And this in turn drives the growth in GDP. I hope we find some consensus to this concept. So it's all the more imperative for us to have manufacturing. A certain key proportion of the GDP economy needs to be centered on manufacturing, which goes a long way in boosting the GDP. Now, what are the key themes for the Industry 4.0 that we can really embrace today? We we see certain innovations like quantum computing and nuclear fusion come in on the horizon, and also more actionable robotics, that are more running on generative AI-based technologies. But what can we use today? AI. Now, Gen AI, I would say, is AI version 3, perhaps. The first version is the rudimentary artificial intelligence based on very basic logic steps. The second generation is the typical artificial intelligence on the early stages of neural networks prior to the large language models. But the current generation of artificial intelligence is consumable. It's usable for us. We can consume the generative AI through APIs. We also can install these generative AI technologies in local servers today. We have open source large language models like Llama that we can deploy in our own shop floors, data centers. And what are the use cases? Yeah, there's good stuff, but what is it going to do for us? It can help us with the quality inspections. Like you can train the LLMs to inspect the finished goods quality. Visual inspections. You can do the safety improvements with the existing large language model technologies. You can improve security and surveillance areas with the large language models. So these are current use cases that we can readily consume. But then you have also certain customer-facing improvements that can be made. If you take the customer service, addressing customer queries, improving customer retention, as well as cybersecurity. It's not least of all, but it's one of the dominant areas that we are actually using artificial intelligence in our business today to reduce the manual effort of going through so many hundreds and thousands of alerts and events that get generated on a daily basis. Next up is the Internet of Things, the IoT sensors. We are beginning to leverage the IoT technology for monitoring the condition of equipment. You have multi-dimensional sensors that can get you data on vibration, on humidity, on other environmental parameters. The vibration, the magnetic currents, magnetic fields that it's generating. So many aspects can be correlated in a predictive model. Again, it can leverage the generative AI as well to some extent, but we already have existing technologies that are prior to generative AI that are sufficiently evolved that can leverage the IoT sensor data to improve the maintenance of equipment, to improve our productivity as we stand today. And some of these sensors have become so consumer oriented that you can even assemble some of these by buying from our international commerce portals across the seas, and have them shipped over to you and put together a system in a few weeks, with some effort yourselves, So such is the beauty of these systems, and then hook it up to a cloud-based system to generate actionable insights, to see which equipment is prone for failure, which equipment has some alarming trends, So this can help you to improve the shop floor productivity, minimize downtime. Then comes blockchain. Blockchain is usable, but the adoption is still a challenge because of the, people tend to relate blockchain and jump up sometimes because it sounds something like cryptocurrency. In fact, the crypto technology is a lot more than the cryptocurrency. The blockchain technology, some of us might be using, or some of us might be aware, helps us to greatly simplify transactions with the shared ledger that we can use, and it helps with authentications, with logistics tracking, with registration, with accountability. So it includes, improves the overall transparency in the industry. So blockchain is another significant boost for the industry that we can leverage today, that is consumable. So all these technologies, how do we get there? How do we make it real for us? How do we implement in our context, especially in Africa? I would say start with an assessment, conduct an assessment on the current state of your digital maturity, identifying the strengths, the weaknesses, the blocks, and what innovations that are locally available that you can leverage, right? And then formulate a strategy, see where you're trying to get to, engage with your stakeholders, and draft a transformation strategy, a journey, a roadmap where you want to get to in a set time frame. You can see results as early as 6 months, and you can have strategy up to 2 to 3 years on the outer end. And most important enabler for this journey is the talent development. Once you formulate your strategy, the key step you need to take is develop the talent. Once you have some idea of which are the areas, you're going to leverage IoTs, you're going to leverage the generative AI with APIs, with interfaces. You're going to leverage some cloud-based technologies. Invest in talent. Develop your talent, and then look around in your environment. Who can you collaborate? Are they good partners in Nairobi that you can work with? Sometimes you have a lot of capable OEMs in other countries, but a lot of times we struggle to get support. We struggle to relate. We struggle with handholding. We struggle with knowledge transfer. So it's always good, if at all you can find a capable local partner, look around and find them. Sometimes if you feel like they are not really advanced, if you start comparing with some of the leaders in the space, we might find them lacking, but still be patient, because we need, this is a journey. And when we want to progress, we need to win-win. The local partners need to be strong enough to support you. That way it can be sustainable for the long term, from a cost perspective and from a talent supply perspective. It helps all around, although it may take slightly longer time in the beginning. But the best thing is to leverage a local ecosystem. In infrastructure modernization, we struggle with archaic infrastructure. We struggle with delays in getting the infrastructure to us from manufacturing hubs where they are produced. So plan the infrastructure modernization well ahead, take all the pain points, and leverage the cloud. Cloud comes very handy, especially for such initiatives. Apart from hardware, where you need an IoT sensor or a robotic equipment or a 3D printer, yes, they can take time, but get the right pieces, right building blocks in place. Then process optimization, and set up a team of process experts who have a keen eye to cut the waste, to minimize the latency, to isolate the redundant steps of approvals and flows. So optimize your process, right? And then train your staff with the entire cycle and repeat the process, right? And I'd like to share a bit about our own journey at Dangote Group, real quick. Our founder is very tech savvy. We have implemented some of the very advanced technologies like ERP, even back in mid 2000s, in our very first plant in Africa. Even prior to that, we were using enterprise resource planning tools, and we are one of the earlier ones to adopt cloud in the early part of last decade. Since 2013, we've been in a journey to put most of our assets in redundance in the cloud. So whatever we have on-prem in our data center also reside in the cloud, except for some tools like Office 365 and email, which is very difficult to replicate. But we keep almost all our ERP systems or mission critical systems. They reside both on-prem and in the cloud as well. And then we also are implementing projects around AI, especially for cement plants that can leverage the data from maintenance equipment for plant maintenance to facilitate the predictive analytics. We are collecting data for production, to see how we can optimize the production, how we can reduce the downtime, how we can find the optimum balance where we can get the best quality product out of our production lines. And then most recently, our oil refinery that we have launched in Lagos, Nigeria, has a very significant chunk of IoTs. It's one of the most modern refineries in the world, very sustainable, very environmentally friendly, and very built on a very robust contemporary technology. We leverage a lot of IoTs. It's completely controlled. We have a massive control room with the screens that are almost 3 times the IMAX screens. It's like 3 IMAX screens lined up. Not just the screens per se, but the content, the control and the content and the monitoring capabilities that it provides is mind-boggling. So it took us a lot of pains to get here, and it is still a journey. It's not like we have arrived. We still struggle a lot with the latency, with infrastructure, getting right things to the right place. We still struggle with talent attrition. There are gaps, but we have the zeal and enthusiasm, and from an insider, I can say, if we can do it, you can do it. Any determined entrepreneur in Africa can do it. So I would like to encourage, be happy to share a lot of public content, but I'll be happy to share some of our content as well. So lastly, a few things that I would like to touch upon are enabling ecosystem. The government policies continue to work with legislators, bureaucrats, emphasize them on the importance of productivity that is enabled by the smart industry, digital infrastructure, and then figure out the financing mechanisms, work with financiers locally, the banks, the financial institutions, industry partners, and boost the regulatory framework, and the way forward is modernizing, leveraging IoT, automation, AI, and cybersecurity, and we strengthen the public-private partnerships and lobby for conducive regulations, and last but not the least, develop your talent. With that, I want to say thank you, and I want to leave with this reminder that gratitude unlocks the fullness of life. It turns what we have into enough and more. It turns denial into acceptance, chaos into order, confusion into clarity. Please have an attitude of gratitude, be thankful for what we have, and that will take us, set the stage for progress and growth. Thank you.
Hi everybody, I'm Georgina Odhiambo. Are you ready for the CIO 100, the DX Nova Women Awards? Thank you so much CIO Africa and DX Nova for giving women this opportunity to be recognized, to showcase their talents, contribution and impact to their organization and the industry at large. So please join us for the CIO 100 Awards, DX Nova Awards and the Symposium this year between the 20th to the 22nd of November. Looking forward to seeing you there. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Prasani Aburi, Group CIO and CISO at Dangote Group, for even guiding us on that particular conversation on how digital transformation, AI, is changing the game in the manufacturing sector. Most importantly, for him handling such a large consortium and seeing how he's been able to maneuver through the digital trends. Thank you for that, and we totally appreciate you. To even take that conversation further to our viewers, we have a panel discussion that is coming up on harnessing Industry 4.0, AI, IoT, and also blockchain in the manufacturing sector. And it's going to be moderated by Carol Odero from DX5. We have lined up quite the speakers who are going to be here in this panel discussion, and I'm confident that we are able to take this conversation forward. But before we get to that particular panel, ladies and gentlemen, we want to go to our next speaker who is going to guide us on the future of manufacturing in Africa. So as we do our stock taking and we do our forecasting, what should we expect when it comes to the future of manufacturing in Africa? Our next speaker, ladies and gentlemen, who is going to guide us in this particular conversation is the head of information technology at Industrial and Medical Gases Nigeria PLC. He's a man with over a decade of experience when it comes to risk management, Sage ERP, and also excels in IT infrastructure design. Up next, ladies and gentlemen, once again, is the head of information technology, Industrial and Medical Gases Nigeria PLC. This is none other than Nuruddin Popoola as he comes to take us forward on this particular conversation. Thank you once again, and we are looking forward as he comes to guide us on that particular conversation. Even as he comes forward, I just want to let you know that his leadership on a VPN project also led to 85% reduction on one internet cost, and also demonstrating his impact on operational efficiency and also technology innovation. So he brings in the technology, he's able to cut on cost, and he's able to ensure that the organization stays afloat when it comes to digital transformation. Once again, we are glad to have him here, Mr. Nuruddin Popoola, as he comes to take us forward on this particular conversation on the future of manufacturing in Africa. Over to you, Nuruddin, and welcome once again.
Have you ever been in a conference without a tea or coffee break? If you have, you will know that people will get disintegrated or lose focus during the conference. In the same way, IT professionals feel when there is no coffee or tea menu in their breakfast. Good morning. My name is Nuruddin Popoola. I lead the Information and Digital Technologies team at Industrial Medical Gases Nigeria PLC. Industrial Medical Gases Nigeria PLC is a manufacturing company which specializes on medical gases and industrial-related gases. Today, we will be looking at the future of smart manufacturing in Africa for Africans. Have you ever thought of what the life would be without the manufacturing sector? Think about the clothes you are wearing, the chair that you are sitting on, the computer system that you are using to join this particular virtual conference today. They are all products of manufacturing sector. Already, we live in a smart cities led by smart governments with amenities like smart banking, smart grid, smart health, and smart insure. Then, the manufacturing sector, which definitely interacts with our life on a daily basis, has no choice than to be smart. This morning, I will be discussing with you today what the future of smart manufacturing will be in Africa. What are the challenges militating against smart manufacturing? Where are the opportunities? And what is the way forward? Join me as we move into the smart journey. Fundamentally, in Economics 1001, manufacturing is defined as a process of turning raw materials into finished products that will be consumed by consumers. So, on the high level, the simple way of describing manufacturing is you source your raw materials, which could be an agricultural produce. It gets converted into usable goods, and consumers we get use of that, and at the same time, recycle whatever is the leftover, which again will be used by another form of manufacturing process to also create new products. From global economic perspectives, Africans, despite the fact that they are battling with a lot of challenges, which include political instability, wars, hunger, and lack of basic amenities, their economy is still being seen as growing and encouraging, according to IMF. As at April 2024, the International Monetary Fund has rated 10 African countries, as seen in the screen now, as the largest economies in Africa, with South Africa taking the lead, followed by Egypt, Angola, followed by Egypt, Algeria, and Nigeria. You can see that each sub-regions in the Africa has a representative. While South Africa is taking the lead from the south, the Egypt and Nigeria are from the north, while Nigeria is from the west. Then Kenya, which happen to be the 7th countries, is represented in the east. So Africa, based on this performance, are moving and has been seen as the future of the global economy. Looking at this GDP also, the manufacturing sectors has contributed close to 15% of the total African GDP. Yet, despite the fact that they are battling with wars and challenges. As the world populations keep on growing, human beings within this planet are also getting smarter, and they are getting more wisdom to devise different means of performing their daily routines in order to ensure that tasks are done in an easy way. Take a look back at agriculture. Our forefathers used hoes and cutlasses to really do their farming operations. But at a point in time, around 18th centuries, due to advancement in technologies, the first industrial revolution came into being, where machines were designed and were discovered. These are powered by mechanical devices. And this was the year we're referring to as the year of mechanics, the first industrial revolutions. Like 100 years after, the second industrial revolution came into being, and this is when electricity was discovered. Then the addition of assembly lines, which leads to mass production of some of these machines that have been discovered before, came into being. Later, the third industrial revolution came in, where digital devices came into being, the birth of internet, the discovery of www. Don't forget that the second industrial revolution, though is being powered by electrical energy, majority of the data that were discovered then were mostly analog. It is the third industrial revolutions that now convert some of this analog data into digital, and that is where a lot of discoveries were made. The fourth industrial revolution, where we are now today, is also a brainchild of the third industrial revolutions. And this is the era where digitalization has become the norms for industries, to the government, and to individuals. So there are a lot of technologies today that, if we make the best use of them, will assist us to go into the digital transformation journey. Some of these technologies are Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, cloud computing, big data and analytics, and the rest. Don't forget that these are new discoveries that people are making the best use of to ensure that our life gets simpler. Why won't manufacturing industry take the best of this? So these technologies can be referred to as technology enabler for smart manufacturing. As I said earlier, African nations are battling with a lot of challenges, and up to now, these deficits are still there. Part of those challenges that are maybe militating against smart manufacturing is infrastructure deficits. The lack of power, internet facilities, motorable roads are still issues that people are still battling with in major African countries. The other one has to do with shortage of skilled labor, people with relevant skills and education qualification to really pilot the continent into the journey that we are going through. The other challenges that we are having in Africa has to do with the limited investment by the government. Don't forget, some of these African nations are still battling with servicing foreign debt that they collected from the United Nations or International Monetary Funds. So while they are battling with this, larger percentage of their revenues are focusing on debt management as against infrastructures, provision of infrastructures for their populace. The last but not the least has to do with unfavorable government policies, where multiple taxation regimes happen to some of these manufacturing companies. The central government, state governments, and the local governments, where these manufacturing companies operate, tax them in such a way that the profit after tax realized by some of these manufacturing companies militate against them to even invest to maybe increase their productions or to increase more into their business. Despite that, the same way African nations has survived those challenges, there are a lot of opportunities ahead for organizations or industries or countries which embrace smart manufacturing. Don't forget that part of what we enable that smart manufacturing is the adoption of those technologies I listed earlier in my slide. What are those opportunities ahead for smart manufacturing? So let me quickly divide this into two. First, I will categorize this as macro, then the one of micro. For the macro, this speaks to what the African nations will gain, or what the countries that adopt smart manufacturing strategies will gain. Number one, the establishment of smart manufacturing environment will lead to co-creation, inter-African trade. It means what Rwanda cannot process could be produced by Ghana. It means South Africa and Namibia also share the same trade benefits. And this is one of the best advantages of smart manufacturing. Secondly, there will be creation of digital jobs for Africans in Africa. I mean, there will be a lot of brain gain, retention of skilled talent within the African continent, rather than brain drain that we are currently experiencing. The third macro advantages or opportunities that lie ahead of smart manufacturing has to do with reduced dependency on foreign aids. Don't forget that a lot of the investment or a lot of expenditure by some of these manufacturing companies lies in the amount they use to import raw materials or to import the spare parts of their plants and machineries. So as soon as we embrace manufacturing, the amount of imported materials or imported goods will drastically reduce. And this will definitely fetch these companies more income or for them to retain more capital that can be used for some other things within the business. What is the main micro effect or micro advantage that the industry that implements smart manufacturing will benefit? And I want us to look at what we call a business growth and business scaling. You know, fundamentally, somebody will tell you that if you want to grow your business, you need to increase your investment within the business. They will ask you that you might need to increase your investment in people or technology or capital, then definitely you will get an increased revenue. And that is truly talking about business growth. For business scaling, it is in the other way around. The fact that you want to get an increased revenue does not mean you need to also have proportionate increase in your investment of these existing resources. And this is one of the greatest advantages that you can get from smart manufacturing if organizations adopt it. It means you need to spend little on one of these three variables while you get more in return as revenue. Don't forget that you have your people, you have your process, and you have the technology. I am telling you today that the adoptions of this Industry 4.0, those technology I listed before, is what you will need to spend more on. And your people and the process, while remain the same, will now fetch you a business scaling. Then, as soon as Africa adopts the future of manufacturing, so we will now manage the factories of the future, since technologies will take first. I have been telling people that they should not nurture the fear that artificial intelligence or some of these Industrial 4.0 technologies will take their job. Rather, what will take their job are the same people who possess the knowledge of artificial intelligence. They are the ones that will take the jobs of those people who do not possess the knowledge of artificial intelligence. So, and that is one of the reasons why we said it is also high time for African continent countries to reform their educational curriculum so as to be in sync with what is currently obtainable within the industry. Outdated educational curriculum has also been one of the reasons why we are having shortage of skilled manpower. So in the future, the smart factory that will be inside the smart manufacturing industries will be manned by human beings and machines. Why the human being will take the decision taking and some other complex psychological process, the machines will focus on repetitive tasks, which definitely are not what human beings like to do. And the combination of this, the best of human beings and the best of these machines, will lead to success in the future. Don't forget that the fact that you want to adopt smart manufacturing does not mean you need to now do overall of entire plant and machineries that you currently have. Rather, it's just a little investment that you need. So how do we get there to this smart journey so that we will have a smart cities and a smart investment? Number one, we need to assess our assets. So what are those key assets that you have as a company, as an organization? Your people, the technology, and the process. We need to do a SWOT analysis of this. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? Where are the opportunities? And where are the threats? So this will really assist you to know what to do. Don't forget, shortage of skilled personnel. So it means if this is a weakness that you have gotten from your assessments, it means there's a need for you to also invest in upskilling your people. After we must have concluded our SWOT analysis, then we need now to define the KPI. So why are we moving to smart manufacturing? Is it about our consumer? Is it about the data? Or is it about creating of digital factories or virtual factory? So number one, don't forget that as cities are becoming smarter and governments is becoming smarter, the same way your consumer, your customers are also becoming smarter. So there's also a need for you to render services to them, to provide services for them in a smarter way. So customer experience should be the center point of our objectives when we're moving to smart manufacturing. Don't also forget, there's a need for data. Some of these machines and plants that we already have are giving out analog data, which need to be converted to digital data that some of these industry 4.2 technologies understand. And this is one of the reasons why we need sensors, also a sort of cyber physical equipment. After we must have defined the KPI, then we now need to establish the strategic roadmap to get to these smart manufacturing. It will not be a day journey, it will not be a month journey, but it is a journey that definitely we can get to if we are desire to have to get there. So what will be the next actions? So you need to quickly take the inventory of your technology, of your processes, and of your people. Think about the best on how to manage this variable to achieve the best in ensuring that you now become so smart to service your customer, to also render returns to government. Don't also forget that the government has also become smarter in the way they rule us. So this will be the best thing in which the manufacturing sector will assist the teeming populace within the African nations. Thank you. And I think I am expecting that some of these countries like Rwanda, what they have achieved, some other countries within the Africa's continents will join them so that we have a smart African countries. Thank you.
If you joined us last year, I know you enjoyed SmartGov Summit that we held last year. It was our first edition. Hopefully you can join us this year in July 24th and 25th for the second edition of the SmartGov Summit, which promises to be bigger than last year, promises to ensure that it captures the cutting edge issues of this year. And we know artificial intelligence is really at the center of this digital transformation, and how companies and countries can be future ready, how you yourself can be future ready around how you skill and upskill so that you are prepared for this revolution. See you.
Industry 4.0, harnessing this particular industry with a key focus on AI, IoT, and blockchain in manufacturing. How do we take this conversation forward? Ladies and gentlemen, we have quite an interesting and engaging panel discussion lined up for you. We have Isaac Mwangi, CIO from Unga Group. We also have the seasoned Gilbert Mutai, head of ICT at Car and General. We also have Naom Kerubo, IoT Solutions Manager at Liquid Intelligent Technologies. We can't wait to get into this engaging discussion that is going to be moderated by the head of content at DX5, the one and only Carol Odero. Over to you, Carol, as you guide us in this particular conversation on harnessing industry 4.0, AI, IoT, and blockchain in manufacturing. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the panel discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Ian, for that introduction. I love it. And I'd like to welcome our panelists, Isaac, Naom, and Gilbert. I'll let you introduce yourselves shortly. So as we sit here right now, about 75% of our population is protesting, I think, or is below the age of 35, and this is pretty much the workforce that will be absorbed into smart manufacturing, with the right skills, of course. So this creates a really big base for manufacturing, presenting an opportunity domestically. And so I know that Prasanna said that when it comes to manufacturing, the trend is more of downward, but I think that with the future being what it is, there is more opportunity for manufacturing, more opportunity for higher value manufacturing and innovation. Of course, there are challenges, as Andrew mentioned. There are big ones like the skills gap and access to capital and the conducive environment and limited infrastructure. So this conversation will attempt to illuminate the opportunities and challenges in Industry 4.0. And so I'll let the panelists speak about it and introduce themselves and let me know what their favorite 4.0 technology is and why. I'll start with you, Gilbert.
Yeah, thank you so much, Carol, and good to be back and happy to have been part of this journey, this being the second episode of the Smart Industry. So my name is Gilbert Mutai. I aid IT at Car & General. Car & General span across number of industries. Of course, the major one is the automotive. And the main product we deal with is the TVS motorbike. Boda our main customers. We also have the three-wheeler products. And for other industry, we have also constructions as well, and in agriculture and also in manufacturing as well. So, and I'm glad to have this discussion. It's an opportunity for us to share ideas. And as you've mentioned, there's a lot in terms of the trends in the smart industry. And looking at where we are, being in Africa, being in Kenya, and also you mentioned about the skill force as well. And looking at, in terms of the components of the Industry 4.0, there are around three key elements. There's the elements of the technology, there's the element of process, and there's the element of people. And when I look at it where I sit, I think there's good progress in terms of the technology. When I look at Car & General, the kind of automation that we put in place in terms of even, the process through the ERP, the kind of automated reportings, and technology, I think we've made good strides in that. And that has translated to, efficient processes, so that there's improvement in the processes as well. Where there's still gap is on the side of the people. And I think that's a key discussion that we need to have going forward. How do we bring our people into the party? Because even talk about the smart AI, like for example, the smart technology like the AI, these are things that are driven by data, and data are collected by people. So it's very important to really look at what are the skill gaps and how can we really bring the people into the party by properly training them and making sure that they have the right skills, and not just only within our workforce. When we talk about people, we also look at our customers as well. Some of the products that we are releasing to the market are smart devices. And just to share something quickly in terms of what we did at Car & General, we introduced Edge Elect motorbike, which come with what we call smart lock systems. And this was to address the challenge of the theft, which is very rampant in the border industry. But it was a bit of a challenge because our customers are not really able to adopt the technology. And for them, they felt like it was not the right product for them. And the big question is then how do we really move with our people in terms of these smart technologies? I think I just wanted to reinforce that is important aspect of looking at the people and making sure that, as organization, we collaborate with other departments like the HR, the department that are doing research to see what we can do better to make sure that we train our people to really understand and be part of the journey of the smart industry.
Okay,
Thank you,
I
Carol.
actually didn't know that there was a problem with border theft. That is interesting to note. Okay.
Yeah.
So your favorite technology would be AI?
Yes, so I think the favorite technology will be the AI.
Okay.
And it's something that will change a lot of things in terms of how we do stuff. But as you've said, unlike the service industry, adopting the AI within the smart industry is a bit challenging. I like there's something that I shared on LinkedIn just to share a case of how we are adopting the AI. And
Hold that thought.
yes,
Yes.
I'll come later. Okay, fine.
Yes, it will come later. No?
So thank you so much for this opportunity to discuss this very amazing topic on Industry 4.0. So my name is Naum Kerubo. I'm an IoT Solutions Manager at Liquid Intelligent Technologies. And to start off is just to say that IoT is my favorite technology.
Of course.
Yeah, of course, because then I'm into it. I'm very familiar with it. I know how it works. And it's it's a combination of all the technologies that we can think about, because it starts with devices that have to transmit through a network. That data that is being generated has to be stored in some form of cloud or on-prem storage. There's cybersecurity that goes with it. And then there's AI and analytics that go into it, and then to get the insights that are desired. So it's an integration. IoT is not just a product off the shelf. It's an end-to-end solution to itself.
Okay.
I of course, just to talk a bit about Liquid Intelligent Technologies is that it operates in most of Africa in about almost 20 countries across the continent. And it is just from the fact that we changed our name from Liquid Telecom to Liquid Intelligent Technologies, just communicates how we are very cognizant of the changing needs in the market. And therefore, we try to put everything together from our traditional infrastructure expertise into solutions that are actually needed and demanded in the market. Okay. Yeah. Isaac?
Thank you very much. My name is Isaac Mwangi. I'm the head of IT at Unga Group. And just to give you a background of what Unga does, you can see my muscles. We all need our products. We measure on human and animal nutrition. Our major brand is Jogo. And then there's also X for Chapati, and the many others, and then our pulses in the Amana Group. And then we also have our animal, which is under the Fugo range, well known for the chicken feed, pig feed, and also some minerals that we supply to them. So that's briefly about us. So the question is this, how do we produce those products? Where have we come from as Unga? And what technology do I support? So technically, Unga has come from 1908. And given that history, I'm linking it now to this question that you've asked. We definitely have technology that is running. When I try to bring in IoT, it's like bringing in a second wife, because I already have SCADA. It's integrated very well with the ERP, integrated with everything, and we are still manufacturing, and we are making a bottom line. I would want to bring in IoT. But how does this IoT come in without a fight from SCADA? Yeah. Secondly, the relatives of this SCADA are still there. These are the people who have worked with it, lived with it, talked to it, integrated with it. Now I'm telling them there's another person coming in called IoT. You also have to talk to him, listen to them. And then there's all this skepticism that, yeah, this IoT thing, there's security issues. Secondly, I hear the data will stay in the cloud. What will happen when it rains? So all those things are all happening. As I said, there's the people, there's the process, there's technology. And then I add the fourth one, which is governance. As it is, we are still in a pool whereby how do we govern this new technology that we are bringing in? Yes, it works in the lab, because these people mainly deal with the lab. They'll tell you how it works. It's a technology, there's network, there's what. But when you come to me, it is in real time. What happens when you are told that this Teams cable has been cut, and there I am, my cows must eat, the chicken must eat, I must keep my muscles strong. So how do you relate to all this? So to me, my favorite would be IoT, but definitely I'll have to champion it. I'll have to create a way to bring it in, which I've already started, but we shall delve into that as we go on.
Okay.
Yeah.
You've basically led us to the first question that I had in mind, which is what are the challenges of trying to incorporate Industry 4.0 technologies? Gilbert, what have been the challenges you've faced?
So I think back to my thought, when you look at it, especially the smart technology like the AI, there's so many use cases. And I was sharing with Isaac a while before we came in. And when you look at it and look at the journey we've taken through, some things have been very specific. Like during the ERP, it was very specific that I need an SAP, I need an Oracle. It was very specific. But I think in terms of, where we are, in terms of, the AI, the IoT, there's a lot of use cases that sometimes put people into confusion. And as I said earlier, it's very important, even as we discuss and as the players in the industry, to really be very specific and maybe have sort of research and development department in our organization who can really dwell into this and identify what kind of AI that can be able to suit on our environment. Because as Isaac mentioned, his focus is not my focus. So the kind of AI that will be good for him and what will be good for me will be totally different. And out of us embracing technology, we end up embracing everything that comes on the space. So it's good to really sit together and then say, guys, what do we need to do here? What are the use cases that are relevant to us and things like that?
Okay.
Yes.
And do you find that when you're trying to incorporate IoT, or maybe if you're working as Liquid and you're looking at smart industry, are there usually challenges in terms of legacy technologies and what you already have for IoT? Do they clash? How do you merge them? Do you throw away the old and bring in the new entirely? What do you do?
So absolutely, those are challenges that are very preeminent. And as Isaac mentioned, people are already so attached to these legacy systems, and moving them away you wouldn't move them away without a fight. And therefore we take cognizance of that kind of attachment to the legacy systems, and therefore we embark on creating awareness of what these technologies are going to do for you, and therefore so that you create understanding across the board, across the entire stakeholder fraternity, such that then as you drive these technologies, then there's very clear understanding that whilst we have these very intricate and very intertwined legacy systems that have existed for years, there's more to it, or there's more that can offer you sustainable competitive advantage, and which is technology. And it's not just IoT, it could be blockchain, it could be additive manufacturing, and so forth and so forth. And so we try to even now bring more people on board to do things like change management, because then introducing disruptive technologies like IoT means then you're going to change the culture of the organization at some point. And besides that, there's also now this skills gap that exist at our customers' end, or in many manufacturing companies, that you need a combination of skills to operate these technologies. And therefore, even the challenge we face now is trying to bring everybody on board and sort of trying to educate people from the ground up that what is in it for me, and then trying to now train people on the technologies. It could take longer than we would anticipate, and also to just try to let the manufacturing companies know that this wouldn't be an overnight thing. So you can start from a point of your comfort as you progress now to more advanced technologies. I think another challenge actually is just a general fear of technology, this technophobia. People don't quite can't explain why, they're just scared of technology. But you would understand when you have jobs on the line, and you're not quite you're not very aware about what these technologies are going to provide for you. So technophobia is another thing actually that you have to transcend, therefore, to make this industry IO 4.0 technologies a reality.
You've mentioned quite a number of things. You've talked about, well, the whole man versus machine aspect, change management, and the skills gap. So now, just for you, Gilbert and Isaac, are you thinking that you might be replaced by machines at some point? Because in your industry, the machine component is quite strong. You can't do what you do without it. But are you going to be replaced?
Looking at it, where are we at the moment? At the moment, I don't think there's a fully 100% smart industry in Kenya. Most industries are running on ERPs and a production line that's mainly on a SCADA system, a control system that's using control systems, PLCs, and a bit of sensors. So if you look at the current situation we are in, before we reach a point whereby we say that we shall be fully wiped out and we bring in now the smart industry, the smart devices are able to replace us, we are quite far. Actually, our job now is very, very, very big. Why? We are transitioning. Some are even manual industries. The new industries can come directly as smart, but the existing ones that are running currently are in a situation whereby they are making a transitional journey. How do we migrate from a PLC to an IoT device? Now, if you look at a PLC is full of logic. It has been programmed. If this happens, do this. If this happens, do this. If I tell you do this, activate that. That's a PLC device. What is IoT? Similar. However, IoT has more functionality. It has more logic built in a program that is cloud-based. So you'll be able to achieve more or less the same and more. The question is this: if I'm able to change this and get more, where's the business case? I'm going to spend $2 million to do this. What's my repayment period because I've added this? Or is there any effect really? Number two, the amount of money involved in wiping out and changing this thing is quite a lot. On the human resource, being able to bring everybody starting from the board together with you to tell them that now we need to go to a smart industry. Are you going there because you want to keep up with the Joneses, or there's a business case? If there isn't, it's hard. Number two, the people. These people, our industries are more, we have, for you to make any profits, you cannot bring a graduate to be doing for you machine operation. So it means these same guys, you have to train them. You have to show them the need, and they have to see it. Not just telling them, they have to see it, and then they'll buy it with you. So am I afraid of being replaced? I'm the one determining whether I want to replace the machines or not. Whether I'm going to bring them in or not.
Right.
So we are at
Okay.
that point. So I'm not even scared. I think by the time me and Gilbert will have hanged our boots, guys will be still trying to see whether they
Will
can
be
replaced or
like
not.
another generation down the line.
That will be the problem.
So how do you talk to? Oh yes, go ahead.
Yeah, and I think I just wanted to add what Isaac has said, and looking at it is that I don't think there's a technology that can really survive without the human element in it, right? The only thing that we need to look into is that there'll be a lot of transformation, like how do I do my job better than what I'm doing currently, and those are the things that will happen within our space. But I don't think fully, the smart technology like the AI, even things like robot cannot operate without human beings, right? So the big thing is about then how can we integrate it so that the machine and the human element can work together to make our life better. If I spend 12 hours in an office, if I can use technology and spend less than that, then that means even my life improve. I can be able to focus more on very important aspects like my family and things like that. So I don't think ever we reach a point where the AI will replace. But the big thing, and that is a CEO, I can't remember the name, who said, what will happen is that's not the AI that will replace people, but people who know how to use the AI to replace people. So there's a very important aspect of transformation in terms of making sure that we understand this technology so that we can survive with them harmoniously.
But you constantly have to upgrade in order for you to function and to have a competitive advantage. How do you have this conversation on the skills gap in training, as well as the change management with the board? How do you talk to them? What do you make them see? How do you present the business case so that they can understand that these technologies are necessary?
So you see, for us, for example, there are very clear use cases. Like there's a lot of discussion about the driverless cars, right? So one thing about what's happening from the governance level, also from the compliance point of view, the requirements also for boards to have certain requirements in terms of digital skills, and I think it's something that is being rolled out because a number of things are changing. So I think the key thing is basically creating awareness from top to bottom, and of course everyone can see what is happening out there, and I think we can run from that reality. Something is a change that has come, and we either dance to it, or otherwise we would, because the point is what Isaac mentioned, we're in a competitive environment. If us in general, we all do our own technology, someone else within that competitive space will run ahead of us. You saw what happened in terms of taxi industry, for example. That has been a very good case, right? If you can have Uber in your app and then dance to it, you could survive. So it's a disruption that we need to, just find a way of surviving into it. Yeah.
Now you partner with a lot of organizations. How do you introduce the IoT conversation? How do you tell them this is the technology of the future? This is what we need you to do. This is the use case. This is how much money it will bring. This is the training you need to do. How do you have this conversation?
Of course, there's a demand to demonstrate the value that comes with investing in these technologies. So we have had companies across the globe that have embraced some of these technologies, and it's very evident that at least they are already making returns on their investment, and they are very deliberate in being in operating into the future in the long haul. So there has to be a way to demonstrate to these stakeholders that, you see, in investing in these technologies, this is the value and this is the benefit that lies for your exploration or for your embrace, so that then you have a competitive advantage over the rest, showing them you can use we use some very live use cases, across the globe to show them how they have made savings, how they have become more efficient, how they have been able to increase their market share, and all those kind of things. But also to just exhibit that you have an opportunity, for instance, to set yourself apart when you use technologies like blockchain. In the wake of very many imitations, you really want your quality and your products to be verifiable. So just giving them examples of how their product can be verified in the market using technology and those kind of things. Yeah.
Okay, Isaac?
The same, I lost the question. I was enjoying the conversation.
Like how you present context.
How do you present, yes,
your business case, so
Okay.
that then you
Now,
get a buy-in?
No, getting a buy-in, I would, before I go to the board, I should have the full end-to-end in place. It should be within a strategy. Because most of the time when we get to see IoT, blockchain and everything, they come in as events. Somebody comes, I can do an IoT for your silo. Somebody else comes, I can do an IoT for you for this. We can do AI to predict this. But each of them is an event. But the moment you put it as a strategy, and then, as I said, we all come from a backdrop of where we are coming from. Like, for us, we're already on an ERP, we're already on SCADA, we're already on some bit of bots and automation. Now, the most important thing is how do you transition from where you are to move to the next level? The best link, what I normally see, if you want to management to listen to you, talk from the known to the unknown. Because blockchain and IoT is a bit technical. AI, they've heard about it and they're excited about it, but sometimes it's not fully explored and the use case is not clearly defined. But when you talk of digitization, they know everybody's accessing us from the digital. From what? Once you've been able to show that, first of all, you're starting with digitization, because this is where now your customers, you interact with your customers. You collect all the information about your customer. Now you start building your AI strategy on it, because I have this information, this is what my customers want, and this is what they're doing. Then you show them, for me to do AI, I'll require 1, 2, 3, 4. And then for me to complete the chain and ensure that I produce as per my customers who are digitized, I need to come in with some IoT. So with this IoT, this is what I'll be doing. It will help me know the temperatures, it will help me know the production volumes, and at it, I can, at runtime, use AI to determine that I'm not getting the best quality, so I need to, at runtime, to go and using the control system, adjust some few things and get my quality right. So when you give them all that as a story to the end, and you tell them now once our product are in the market, they need to be verifiable. Therefore, I need blockchain. The whole story will be bought, and now the owners will be on you to deliver.
That's powerful. So then this, of course, brings in the element of cybersecurity. How do you incorporate it? Because 4.0 technologies, cybersecurity, there is a risk. How do you handle that? The risk of cybersecurity.
Cybersecurity.
Yes.
Okay, there's a guy who said before she talks, because she's an expert there, if you want to be safe, stay offline. Again, we come to this point. SCADA is a closed system, and it's working for me. And then again, you're telling me to go into IoT, which is, so it goes again. It will be security by design. It is not as an afterthought. After you've put your stuff and then you see things going wrong, you start running. Everything you do, you should build from ground. You put the IoT, can you even access it within the LAN? If it is safe within the LAN, then you, outside the firewall, you try. Outside the firewall, definitely there are products that are coming in. As he said, with IoT and this new technology, it's not like SAP, you say, I'm buying an ERP called SAP, it has the best practices in it, and I install. But here, you're being brought a component that are designed by a company like Liquid to give you your solution. So it is very hard to say that I'll use. So it is a design from ground. So at every point of the design, at code level, even when you're writing those instructions, maybe are they at C level, C or a microprocessor-based kind of instructions, when you're writing them, are they secure?
Okay.
And when you're accessing it from out here, is it secure? So it's by design.
Okay. No.
And I think on top of that, I like the point Isaac mentioned about security by design. That's the way to get it right. And now back in terms of organization, the most important thing as you know, Industry 4.4 look at number of machines connected together. That means there's a lot of interfaces, and that open a lot of loopholes in terms of, you know, cyber issues. So there's very important to make sure that within our network is there a possibility of segmenting it. Of course, as Isaac mentioned, we cannot do offline completely, because if you want to be secure, yes, go offline. But then, you know, how can you be able to have these machines, you know, exchange data and give instructions to the next machine and things like that? So the most important thing is basically to segment and maybe think about firewall between the segmentation within the network. The other components are about our people. That's where the big risk is. We need to then invest more in terms of creating awareness so that because our people are the biggest exposure. They need to understand the best practices in terms of how to handle data, who to share data with, and whatever information happening in the space, what they need to do. People would click links left, right, center. They need to understand those are where issues can happen. So it's very important also to invest on the you know, user awareness.
Okay.
Yes.
So maybe in addition, and even without going very technical on encryption, authentication, and those kind of cybersecurity options that are available, they're basics to be checked. Like, who is this vendor that is giving you this solution? They have to be very authentic. It's someone you know very well. They can give you SLAs they can meet, and therefore, there is a responsibility on the part of the customer to verify the kind of supplier of technology that they are taking on board. But even more, to try and go and understand the technology that they have been given. Have you questioned that technology? Have you asked for a POC? Have you tried to play around with it, to do penetration testing on it, to find to what extent you could be exposed when you adopt these technologies? And there are other aspects also, like far and beyond that, to just put in place, say, an incident response and recovery system that in case we are exposed, then this is how we are going to handle the incidents that will arise. Then having frequent audits to just find out that whatever that was put in place is meeting the, say, the security aspects or KPIs that you had defined or agreed together with your vendor, so that then you're not caught off guard when a major incident happens. Yeah.
Okay. And my final question, how are you all handling the skills gap? How are you doing the reskilling, the upskilling, the training? Are you getting them while they're young, still in campus, or you're waiting to, bring them on board and look at their potential? How are you doing the skills training? How are you managing that?
Okay, maybe I could start from a technology service provider's perspective. That, as I mentioned, we changed our names because we are very intentional about trying to provide solutions and not just, connectivity as a solution, but more and above that, solutions that can meet the requirements of the market and of our customers. And therefore, it's starting internally from training our staff to making them aware about the requirements or the needs or demands that are being met in the market. And therefore, such that they're not stuck with the traditional products and solutions that we have been providing. But over and above that, we have programs with schools, the Rusinga schools. We have a hackathon every often with them to just take them through what the world looks like. And while it might look very far-fetched because those are very young children, but we are anticipating to survive or to be in existence in the next 10, 15, 20 years. And these are the children who, having been exposed to the kind of technologies that exist, have learned and are well prepared to then to deliver solutions that will be demanded in the market. And we are also very intentional about educating our customers, because for them to adopt the kind of solutions we're trying to position, it's our responsibility that these customers understand what they're exposing themselves to, the kind of skills that are needed, because then we cannot attend to every need and every requirement in the market or for our customers. Therefore, it's to everyone's benefit that our customers are very well informed, they're very, very well trained, they're exposed to the complexities of these solutions we want to explore, so that then they're very self-sustained, in managing and operating that.
Intelligent children, intelligent customers, intelligent solutions.
An entire ecosystem of
liquid intelligence.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Actually, for me, I view it from a little bit different. I would not target the people that are working within the organization. I would really look at it this way. What are we getting from our institutions? And this is something whereby we need to start lobbying as manufacturers and also start working with the TVETs, not even universities, because universities, they're a little bit higher. They need to be doing strategy, design. Here we are dealing with TVETs. This is the guy who will come and will look at the machine. This is the guy who will fine-tune your machine within the factory. If you can be able to relook at the curriculum and start introducing IoT at every point, because it's the same thing, but added a much more digital functionality. They are learning PLCs, they are programming them, the microprocessor sets that they have. All they need to do is where can they go a level higher with now IoT devices? What are they doing? Instead of this PLC reporting back to this server that's here, how do you take it through the network and the security to report to a higher office? And secondly, this data that we collect, somebody said that Boeing produces about 2 TB of data every second. All this data that is also produced in the factory by these cadres, where does it go? So this training should even take them up to that level. All this data that you are collecting, instead of you staying there to see whether the thing has turned red, so it's very hot, why can't you just read and analyze the data and predict with this rise, in the next 5 minutes, it will have overheated. So we shall introduce them to predictive analytics within their job. They don't need to understand the underlying tool. All they need to know is that this data is coming here and this graph is rising. I need to come in at this point. So I would advise that we lobby as the manufacturers, partner with the TVETs who are very open to listen, and if possible, we can sponsor some few and say, this 510, this is the kind of curriculum I want you to do for them, and I'll take them in.
Okay.
Yeah.
And just to add to that, and from the perspective of CAR in general, when I look at it, for us, we've been there for the last 90 years. CAR in general has existed for that. And that tells you we have all the generation you can imagine, from generation X to the latest. Which is the latest? Is it Alpha? No, we don't have Alpha. I think it will be the Gen Z. So I think one thing that we've been looking is structuring this workforce, because their requirements in terms of skills will be totally different because of the kind of experience they have had. And what we've done is we're partnering with Nextford University. We have an MOU so that they'll study our processes and give us sort of tailored training that is really focused to what you do as CAR in general. Because one thing we realize, as Isaac mentioned, the students coming from the university, they have more of theoretical knowledge, but they come here, things are totally different. So then with Nextford, then we're able to really focus with the process of CAR in general and work on programs that can fit everyone, right? Depending on your level of skills and what you do within our space. And the other thing also is I think I wanted to stress the point of it's good to really look at going into the future. We need to collaborate with our learning institutions, because we seem to work totally differently and you know, chasing the same objective in a different way. Because the kind of skills that we get from TVET or even from campus as well, when they come to the work environment, they still have a long journey to learn, because the skill they have learned is totally. So I think there's need for us as manufacturers to come up with a framework of working with the team, so that even as they work on the curriculum, when they are changing the curriculum, I think it's good to get the feedback from the industry players, so that they can be able to tailor their program to make sure that it fits the skill that is required out there in the industry.
Okay.
Yes, and just to add also on that, you know, there's small things, even including the tools like, you know, learning management systems. When we grow up, we thought that also for learning institutions, but that's very important for organization to even come up with these tools, you know, the learning management system that really tailored and focused on your process. And also from the HR point of view, there's need to emphasize the component of staff development, so that HR is not just looking at that, you know, the recruitment and onboarding and all that. That component of staff development, I think, going forward will become very key within the HR department.
Okay. Are we out of time? Okay. So I'd just like you all to give, you know, your final thoughts on the topic, which is not IoT, because IoT has clearly won this conversation.
I'm very glad.
Yes, you've won over everybody. But anyway, just give your final thoughts on the topic.
So to start, I think I would say smart industry is not a destination but a journey, and it's a journey that will be dictated by so many factors, including at where we are. We need to appreciate the fact that we're in Kenya, we're in Africa, so it's good to appreciate where we are and then really evaluate. Sometimes we talk more on what is in books, not what is in the reality. So it's good to be realistic, evaluate where we are within our environment, within our industry. And the most important thing is to make sure that we collaborate. And collaborate here means it goes beyond the industry players. Because, you know, look at Liquid Telecom, for example. So there are a lot of things they do that us as CAR can benefit for them. So we need to come out with a framework where even from UNGA and CAR in general, as much as we're, you know, chasing different sets of customers, but within the technology space, there are things that we can benefit. And thanks to the you know, DX5 team, because of organizing these events, it's very good because you get to share ideas and get to see what you need to do going forward. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. So the challenge is notwithstanding of adopting these technologies. I think there's an opportunity to be explored, and manufacturing companies have an opportunity, or they have a choice to either evolve so that then they can be very sustainable into the future, or dissolve. So it's a challenge I'll throw into them, that the choices we make today, we should be aware that they are going to impact our future, the functioning of our organization. And if it's going to be sustained, our companies are going to be sustained in the future, then that means we have opportunities even for our future generations. Yeah. Okay.
For me, what I see is that we are being pushed by the greenfield kind of investment into manufacturing, because the moment they come in, they come with the full shebang, everything smart. 3 people running a factory compared to you using about 50. So what does that mean? It means that going to the smart industry direction is not an option. And as you said, they are 90 years. As I think we are more than 90. We are from 1908. So you can imagine the kind of ship we are trying to maneuver into this canal. We cannot just turn an about turn like a soldier and take the other direction. That process of turning slowly and moving into that has to be done a little bit quicker. Therefore, we are older, we are smarter, so we have to come up with strategies that will quickly help us turn around. We'll have to leverage on partners. We'll have to leverage on people like who are doing the studies to be able to know. As we even have baby boomers, I don't know whether they're there. They're also in part of the trying to do a change management program for a baby boomer to a Gen Z. It's almost impossible. Once that is there, we also need to cooperate with the learning institutions. The curriculum maybe that they're learning now, they're learning COBOL. And here we have Java and we have Python. So let's work with them. Let the people they'll churn out. Let me give a short, where I used to work in an auto industry. We used to get diploma guys. We never used to hire a university diploma, and they would train for 4 years in-house. So what if, just thinking about it, we know what we need our people to have achieved. If we work with 3 TVETs and tell them, this is you guys teach people how to do this, but now because you have this technology, we are giving you this kind of technology. And then also you're calling them the software we can be using for learning platforms that can be leveraged on very well to upskill the current people who are already in the workforce, because they already know. They're starting to the known and going to the unknown. Okay.
All right. Thank you, guys. Everybody, you heard it. It takes a village to make a smart industry, obviously. It takes cars, it takes connecting the dots, it takes building the nation. After this, I think that there is going to be a breakout session. There'll be a couple of sessions, then a breakout session, 2 of them, so you can decide which one you want to attend. One is on AI, and another one will be hosted by my friend Gilbert here on the future of work processes. Yes. So just pick which one you want to attend. It will be a 10-minute session. You're allowed to ask questions. In fact, we encourage you to ask questions. Ask them really hard questions. And just see how they, answer them, because we are curious about smart industry. And thank you so much for staying tuned. And please don't go away. There are a couple more sessions to go.
Great. That was quite an engaging session, and also a fantastic opportunity for us to be able to hear from the captains of industry on this particular discussion of harnessing Industry 4.0 in the manufacturing vertical. We appreciate our moderator and also our panelists for engaging us in that particular discussion. As you have earlier been informed that there's going to be a breakout session that we have outlined for you, still part of the program. The first breakout session is going to be on AI and machine learning for predictive maintenance. All right. And the other breakout session is going to be on the future of manufacturing after redesigning the work process. Those are the two main topics that we are going to have a look at, and we'll continue giving you more information even as we proceed. So just keep that top of mind. So now we want to go and listen to the people on the ground and also have an opportunity to get to hear from the various case studies that have been outlined for this particular discussion. Our first case study is going to be on digital transformation success stories in the African manufacturing. To guide us on this particular conversation is a man who brings over 22 years of experience as an IT and operations manager. He is the East Africa IT lead at Domans, and we are glad to have the one and only Mr. Chris Mutisia to bring us this particular conversation. Welcome, Chris, and we are glad to have you here. Right, so our next speaker, ladies and gentlemen, on digital. Yes, Mr. Chris, we can't hear you. I hope you can be able to hear us.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you, Chris. Thank you very much. Over to you.
Okay. Yeah, the discussion was very beneficial. And I think we are following on what was going on since morning, which I've also been following. And I've been asked to share and discuss about digital transformation in African manufacturing. As you have introduced, my name is Chris Mutisia, East Africa IT lead in HICOM. Generally here, known as Domans. And I'm going to start with this question, which I've framed up there. What is 4.0 digital transformation? I know this has been mentioned by the presenters before, but I'm picking it on the line of transformation in manufacturing sector. And on my side, I'll give a brief where I'll say we define the digital transformation as the adoption of sophisticated electronic tools and software application to replace manual processes or simple spreadsheets to improve an organization efficiency, flexibility, resilience, profitability, or other measures. I know this is a theoretical definition. And I'll say that each and every company is looking into efficiency. It's looking into flexibility. It's looking into resilience and also profitability. And in fact, I think profitability is a key to each and every company. When you hear people today in our country talking about the famous bill, it is all because it is affecting their profitability or even the future of their profitability. And we may say that it is adoption of a sophisticated electronic tools. But again, practically we'll say that it is an adoption of processes, which at times they may be even very simple. It is adoption of tools. It is combination of what we have. It may not be that it's sophisticated as the theoretical definition may tell us. And then it may be the next to achieve what we want to get in our factories, in our manufacturing sector, and again in our businesses. That is the efficiency, flexibility, this resilience, and the profitability that we are looking at, and maybe even other measures. I'll go to the next slide, where I want us to look into these 3 pillars of the digital transformation, and of which we have to connect these 3, which are the people, the processes, and the technology. For our industries to be efficient, to be resilient, to have that profitability, we need the proper connection between the people, the processes, and the technology. And the first of it is that we need to have the people on board. But for us to know what kind of people we need or we must have on board, we must be clear of our processes. And that happens in manufacturing. In our case, we are talking about coffee, where we are talking about a tree to cup. I know famously, you know about a Dorman's coffee, which you are giving a coffee that you are taking at the supermarkets, in our restaurants. But at the background, we have the tree side of it, the planting. We have the cherries, the parchment, the green coffee, the roasting, and then the packaging to bring it at you to the supermarket. And to get our processes clear, we must map each and every process. We must be able to get our chain well mapped so that the processes will be efficient. And I will base so much on the manufacturing side of it. I'll not go to the side of the green coffee, or even the red cherries, the parchments, which we have mapped the processes and the automation side of it. When we come to addressing the issue of people, we must address the skill gaps, which in most cases affect what people are doing. We must bring each and every person on board. And this again, I'll mention later when we are talking about the failure of digital transformation. But when we are talking of people, we must factor also change management in digital transformation, because most of our people or most of our manufacturing has been manual, or people are used to manual processes. But now when we are talking of making them automated, where we bring in technology, it is very important that we factor change management. And this again, we come with the non-linear value creation, where we must address the issues of change. We must be able, or we need to have a situation where we can easily create changes in our processes. And like in our situation where we bring in a coffee for roasting, and we started like our bill of material, where you need to map what do you need, which processes do you need, and where we understand exactly what we want as our outcome. And then from there, we need to address the issue of technology. And the technology brings in our requirements of machines, our systems, which most of it is computer driven. Of course, we have our manufacturing machines also, And this takes us to the next slide where we say then how to gain a competitive advantage in our digital transformation. And the first is by having the streamlined processes. Going back to my slide 2, where I've talked of the 3 pillars of digital transformation. Mapping our processes for any manufacturing sector. Where I said we need to map our processes. Then these processes need to be streamlined. Before we automate any kind of process, maybe in our sector where we have coffee, but this also applies to each and every other sector in manufacturing. We must again be very clear about these processes. We need to streamline our processes. We need to map our processes. And the team that is working on it, also we need to bring each and every person on board. Our staff need to understand the processes. And then you need the right people in each and every step of our manufacturing. And then from there, you need to get the automation. And when it comes to the automation side of it, here you need now to have the integration between your tools, your software, and the team that is going to help you to move now your data. This means you get the correct tools, and the correct tools are, do you have the correct computers? Do you have the correct machines? Do you have the correct software running? How are you interfacing between, if it is your factory, your manufacturing machines, are you interfacing them if need be to your systems, to your ERP? Have you mapped the processes again between your the manual, your software, and then the team? And then again, you need, it brings about the increased automation, which is going to help you now to take over or remove repetitive processes. Because in most cases, when we are automating, you realize that there are many repetitive processes. And these are the ones which automation comes to help and remove them. They are redundant processes when we are working the manual processes. And automation will help us to remove those redundant processes, will help us to remove those repetitive processes. And in our case, when we were doing our automation, which is a continuous also, and you see one thing that is, there is no end to automation. There is no end to streamlining the processes. You do one process, you say, now I think we have achieved this, but this brings us to the next level. Actually, you end up starting once again, like where we are. I know we have done several cycles of automation. We do one, we finish. Then once you finish, then you realize you have another need. You either restart it or you start improving on what you're doing. And each and every process, it takes you to more resilience of your manufacturing. It takes you to more efficiency of your manufacturing. I know the first presenters talked about AI. We talked about IoTs. And these are coming again to help in automation as a new circles for more efficiency. They are coming into as a new, also to remove redundancy or redundant processes. So my friends, I will say that automation has no end. We keep on improving. If it is in our coffee, we keep on improving. And then I'll go to the next slide, which has a question which is asking Avax, how can technology improve competitiveness and productivity? And I'll say it helps in streamlining operations. It helps in enhancing communication and collaboration. It helps in empowering remote working. And also it helps in empowering data-driven decision-making and promoting innovation and agility. Once we have automated our processes, once we have acquired the right technology into our processes, like in our case, we have seen it is streamlining our operations in our factories. We have seen it streamlining our operations, even going backwards to the farms. The use of technology and automation, that is the digital transformation, we have seen it enhancing communication and the collaboration between the different teams. And in most cases, these teams will find that they are not seated in one place. They are in different areas. So the use of automation has empowered many people also to be able to work even remotely, remote offices. And all of them using the same ERPs, the same systems. And again, this eliminates the verbal and the manual way of communicating. Because by acquiring technology and more so ERPs, and also data which is from our manufacturing systems or plant, we realize that the data is in our ERP and each and every person can find it in. And like where I come from, working with various organizations in ECOM, when I started my introduction, I said I work with ECOM, but here people know it more of Dormancy Coffee. You'll realize that we have like systems which are working like for farm management, green coffee management, and then what is famous and what you know so much, Dormancy Coffee, which brings the ready coffee to you, the roasted coffee. The systems will work seamlessly from one ERP to the other, and each and every person will find the data in the system. Of course, at times, which is also part of digital transformation, there's the use of emails, which are known, and every one of us is using. But then where we value a situation where each and every step moves through an ERP. If I create my bill of material, then the next person will pick it up and he'll know what he needs to get or take from the warehouse or from the store. And the person who is seated in the manufacturing plant will know what he needs to produce because it was done by the person who was doing the production planning. And then he'll pick from what came from the store and he'll go ahead to do the production. The person who is picking again in the finished goods store will pick it from the system and you'll see what has been produced again, compare with what has physically been produced. And this again transits to those who are doing our sales or the invoicing team, who will interface between our production and our sales team. Our sales team will present again in the sales orders, again in the same system, which will compare what has been produced and received into our finished goods warehouse with what has been ordered. And in case we have a deficiency or there is a shortage, Those who are doing the planning, then they get it or pick it from the system, and they know here we have a shortage. In the same systems, again, it will give you, or we are able to know, to see what we have in the store versus what is required within a certain period. And this helps us also so much in planning. And when I talk of a system, especially in our manufacturing, sales, and to the end product, we are using a Sage Evolution for our production. While backwards, we are using an Navision 9 for our green coffee management and the farm management, which is again interfaced with the custom-made system, which helps us in what we call capping. I want to welcome you to Dormans one day so that you can see what we call as capping. That is determining the quality of coffee. We have a system that is a customized. It's that our sales we have developed here. So it interfaces between a vision and the Sage Evolution. And by use of technology or this digital transformation, I've seen it also promoting innovation and also agility in the way we are working. At the times, it brings the challenges that keep us thinking each and every time. As I said, that there is no end to digital transformation and there is no end to automation. Whatever we have done, it keeps us thinking, what can we do next? Because it brings in new challenges. And then I was doing some research when I was requested to do this presentation. And in this research, it is said that over 70% of digital transformations end up failing. And I think we have been into this running through East Africa, have been in some very difficult digital transformation situations. I'll say personally, I've also been involved in some which have failed, some which have delayed, some which have taken very long. And that is what led me to ask this question of why do 70% of digital transformation processes fail? And this is because of where we have not factored the change management. And the change, when we are factoring the change management, we have then to factor the 5 H's. Or we have to take the 5 H's as our new mantra. When we started digital transformation, and we don't map what exactly we want to do, or at times if we fail to come up with a digital transformation strategy, then that leads us to a failure. Some of the transformations that we personally have tried and have seen them take longer than others in different countries or even different companies in our group. Are situations where we have just said we want this to be done. And if there is no proper strategy, or we fail to factor the audience, and those are the people, the assets. The assets include the people and again, the technology. Remember the 3 pillars that I mentioned in the second slide. And then we have to factor the access to that, to the assets and to that technology. This takes us to avoid the failures. So change management in each and every digital transformation in manufacturing sector, and probably in each and every sector, change management is a must. And the change management is not fixed. It depends from one area to the other. It depends from one company to the other. It depends from our different one audience. I don't know what to call them. Let me use different peoples. For example, what I may do here in Kenya, at times it may not be applicable in Kampala. At times may not be applicable in Tanzania. But we want to achieve the same thing. And this is where I need to understand my audience. I need to know who am I working with. I need to know what is their culture in approaching this transformation. What is the culture in what they are doing? For example, if I wanted to automate the handling of cherry is what we pick from the farms. If I want to automate the picking of cherry, I want to see it put in a system, for example, in a vision. Here in Tatu, we are in Tatu here in Nairobi. Or I want to see it in the system in Namamve, in the industrial park in Kampala. I need to understand how are these people handling here in Tatu, how are the people handling in Kampala. So when I'm approaching these people to avoid resistance in what I want to do, I must understand them so that I can bring them on board. And bringing them on board now, these are my most important assets. If I try any kind of digital transformation in any kind of manufacturing, and I don't factor people as my most important factor, then in most cases there will be delay in this process, or there will be delay in my automation, or there will be total resistance. And then again, I need to check, apart from people, I need to check into the technology, which was the other pillar in the three pillars. I need to check into this technology. What is available for me to achieve the digital transformation? Is it connectivity from Liquid, from another person? Is it the computers? Is it the ERP? Do I have the correct tools? If I want the data to come directly from the manufacturing plant, do I have the correct interfaces?
Right.
If I want to automate the right from the gate, I need to ask myself, do I have the correct tools which are going to interface with the ERP? And then how are they accessible by the users? Have I trained the users?
Definitely, Mr. Mutisia, definitely this looks like it is the holy grail that we can be able to adhere to when it comes to why 70% of the digital transformations fail. And I can actually rightfully say that these are the 5 A's according to Mr. Mutisia. Definitely, this is a conversation that I know that we can be able and we should take it further. And I know that we can be able to get a session where we can take this further. But I love how you've been able to bring that out clearly. Being a person who has definitely worked with you personally, I can be able to attest to that particular strategy that you have given. So thank you for that, Mr. Mutisia. We look forward to engaging with you soon, even as we proceed, but we appreciate the wealth of experience that you've been able to bring, especially in this manufacturing vertical, and also for the synopsis that you have given us, the 5 A's according to Mr. Mutisia. So thank you for that. We appreciate you. We would like to probably just get some closing remarks from you, Mr. Mutisia, even as we proceed. Your 15 seconds closing remarks to our viewers.
My closing remarks are that we must make the 5 Heads as our new mantra. We must have a digital transformation strategy if we want to succeed. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you for that, Mr. Mutisia. And I agree with you that definitely we need to have a digital transformation strategy. We appreciate your time and the wealth of experience that you've been able to bring to this particular discussion. Thank you once again. To our viewers, thank you for staying engaged and being here with us. We want to go to our next case study, and our topic of discussion is going to be on how big data enhanced customer experience and also, most importantly, boosted the sales. To guide us on this particular conversation, ladies and gentlemen, is a man who brings nearly 2 decades of expertise in digital transformation, business process re-engineering, and also IT consultancy. He leads strategic initiatives and also technology management, automation, and e-commerce. He is the CIO at Ketepa, and we are glad and honored to have Mr. Bernard Rono joining us now to guide us on this particular conversation and also to appreciate the case study before us. Welcome, Mr. Rono, and over to you.
Warm welcome to my presentation today. It's a case study touching on the tea sector, and it's quite interesting as my slides come up shortly. You know, they say that after water, tea is the most consumed beverage across the world. I know Ian, Ken of EABL, and yourself will have to meet behind the tent to confirm whether that's the case in Kenya. But really grateful for this opportunity. DX5, thank you so much for this opportunity to showcase our milestones in terms of how we've leveraged on data analytics for growth, for improved customer experience, and of course, we've also had our sales grow in the process. Now, tea is a very interesting crop. You know, in Kenya today, I would say last year, all the tea farmers in Kenya earned 180 billion shillings in terms of revenue as a result of tea. And of course, tea contributes close to 2% of our GDP, and 13% of Kenya's population rely on tea. So it's a very important crop, if I may say, in Kenya. I'll begin by saying this, that Geoffrey Moore told us that without big data and analytics, companies are both blind and deaf. And you'd probably be wandering out in the web like a deer in the freeway. I couldn't agree more with Moore, because I joined this company about 9 years ago, and I was asked to lead the digital transformation initiatives. And I'll say 9 years ago, as I joined this company, yes, we had the market share. Yes, we had fantastic sales, but there was a missing gap. The company had not transformed digitally. And so the brief as I signed my contract then was, Ketepa needs to transform digitally, because irrespective of how big you are, you could be the Kenya Power of today. But the truth of the matter is, no one is immune to any form of disruption. And so I was very grateful that a couple of years later, we were honored by a gold award by CIO, EA, and of course, being the leading manufacturing company that leverages on technology for growth. Some of you may not know, I know my friend Prasanna from Dangote in Nigeria may not know that Ketepa is a subsidiary of KTDA, and our bosses are the 700,000 tea farmers across the country. They're supported by 8 subsidiaries, and this is where my discussion around big data begins. I work with a company that analyzes logistics and warehousing data, analyzes microfinance data for over 700,000 farmers who borrow from the microfinance that we run, Greenland Feather. We also do tea blending and packaging, where I work in Ketepa. We also do machinery. There's a KTDA Foundation looking at data across all the tea growing areas. We do hydropower. We generate power actually in order to remain afloat and cut down the cost of power. Of course, power is a big component of what we do in terms of tea production from farm to cup. And of course, we have an insurance subsidiary. And of course, we have all the 71 tea factories spread across tea growing counties. And so it's a big group. Yesterday, we had a distinct honor of hosting our president for a factory tour and the launch of a new product. And when he popped into our technology division, we of course were very grateful to have the opportunity to run him through what you're doing in terms of digital transformation efforts and what we're doing in terms of growing our sales across the world. It was quite interesting to note that. Now, 9 years ago, as I joined this great company, my guide was always the Industry 4.0 technologies. And so as I crafted an award-winning IT strategy for Ketepa, my guide was around the technologies that work to power the Industry 4.0 technologies. So when you look across from e-commerce all the way to digital media, cloud computing, automation, IoT is huge in Ketepa. Happy to see my friend Naum from Liquid. We are, of course, piloting some very exciting IoT projects here in Ketepa. And of course, in the IT space, you must look at all these technologies if you're to grow and focus. But let me just focus a little bit on how we've been able to maximize the analytic value of data. Companies that haven't transformed digitally may be running descriptive analytics, where you probably work with Excel and you're just looking at data that doesn't tell you much. Yeah, but you need to graduate from a descriptive data situation to diagnostic, because you need, as a technology division of any company, you need to answer some of the questions as to why did it happen. And so that wasn't enough. A couple of years back, we welcomed predictive analytics, where you're tasked as a CIO of whatever company you come from, that you should be able to use advanced tools to predict what is likely to happen. And the next slide will tell you why. The data and analytics are the key accelerants to Ketepa's digital transformation efforts. When you look at these great brands, what comes to your mind? You need it, you've got it. Payless every day. Uchumi, Mulays, Choppies. The truth of the matter is that all these retail outlets in Kenya shut down. They just didn't go down. They went down with a lot of the monies that manufacturing companies had invested in. And so from where I sit from a technology division, we in a manufacturing company that do supply goods to some of these outlets, I would say as a CIO, our roles have evolved. We should be able to deploy tools that would be able to predict what is likely to happen, and of course, analyze the challenges ahead. If you run in a company that is not able to predict customer patterns, then you probably would be caught flat-footed by possibly, God forbid, the next retail outlet that is likely to sink. And so our role as CIOs have really transformed from just being the guy that turns on the lights, pulls the cables around, to being able to inform the risk department on the red flags around the buying patterns and the payment patterns for some of the people that you work with. This is why data is important. And so as we talk about data, you of course will be looking at business intelligence, data visualization, data analytics as a service. You'd be looking at managing databases, either on-premise, on cloud, or wherever you're hosting. But I want us to remember one thing, that you can have data without information, but you cannot have information without data. Many companies have data, but what insights can you drive from the data? Many companies have systems, whether legacy or systems that you've upgraded, on-premise, on cloud, or wherever. But is the data you're processing informing you? Because then if you have data without information, then it's a problem. But you cannot have the information without data. So data is important, garbage in, garbage out. Our digital transformation journey commenced by us looking at what data was important for Ketepa. And again, who do you work with? The choice of vendors was also very, very, very important. And so for the past 9 years, I've had to evaluate hundreds of vendors, different technologies, and POC opportunities has given me an opportunity to isolate what technologies would work for us and what wouldn't work for the company. We implemented a very innovative Salesforce automation system that today I can drill down to that retail shop in Wajir, or I can drill down to that retail shop in Isiolo, and I'm able to tell when was our sales rep in the area and what was the customer feedback then. This very innovative solution was able to give us a lot of efficiency, lots of visibility, good growth. And I would say that without a doubt, if you lack this in your business, especially if you play in the FMCG space and you are a manufacturer, then you are in trouble because you need to have efficient teams. You need to have visibility. Today in Ketepa, any sales rep who's stationed across the country wakes up in the morning and of course gets an alert that today you're likely to collect 4 checks from 4 entities and that 4 customers have to place an order from you, purely just running on predictive analytics. And so we've grown. 9 years ago, we didn't know how many retail outlets exist in Kenya. Today, we are on our way to mapping close to 100,000 retail outlets across the country. With that kind of data, you're able to predict buying patterns. You're able to predict which products doesn't work in which territories. And so efficiency, visibility, and growth are the key drivers to what technologies we consume here in Ketepa. Before technology, we had an SOS of 25%. 2 years, 3 years into deploying the technology, if you walk to any modern trade outlet, our products command a share of shelf of very close to 50%, largely driven by technology. Our key accounts manager seated in an office is able to get a view, and I mean almost a near real-time view of all the modern trade outlets across the country. So what are you able to do with that? You're able to check what competition is doing. You're able to look at your product placement. You're able to look at activation. You're able to look at what is it that I should do next in order to increase that share of shelf. And so you cannot do this without robust technologies. We've also ventured into exports. Today, we export to more than 58 countries across the world. And of course, ACFTA is a game changer within Africa. 5 years ago, in our e-commerce platform, we couldn't ship to some of these destinations. Our first consignment of tea landed in South Africa 2 weeks ago, sorry. And of course, we flagged off our first container of tea to Ghana about 2 years ago. And so there's a lot of data that you mine in order to understand the buying patterns, what product would do well in Russia that probably wouldn't do well in the United States, and what can work very well in Australia that can also be consumed in the UK. And so without data, you obviously cannot be able to make up some of these decisions. And so I would say that in Ketepa, data analytics have evolved to just being an IT function. If we are launching a new product like we did yesterday, graced by His Excellency the President, there's been about 3-4 months of data because we did launch and pilot this project and so this product, and of course we use that data to determine whether the product has the correct components, is it well received, well packaged, and what is the consumer saying. And so it's people who make the decisions at the end of the day, and it's the people who need to harness this data. I will not dwell a lot on this, but there has been very serious digital transformation across Ketepa. And I'll just mention that visualization is not enough. The tools you run aren't just enough. You must have an end-to-end broad spectrum of how you view data, from how do you acquire the data, Where do you store it? How do you prepare this data? Do you have automated data? How are your databases? Are they on-prem? They're on cloud? How visual is that data? What apps do you have? You have senior executives that should be mobile in order to consume that data and make key decisions on the go. And finally, how have you embedded analytics in your decision-making process? So data analytics is extremely critical in growing this growth. One of the biggest challenges I had, I should say 5 years into our journey, has been the complexity around integration. Because you have a legacy system that has run in a certain corner for the past 47 years. My good friend Mwangi from Unga said that you have fantastic legacy systems and you have attachment issues to those legacy systems. But then you have modern systems that has just been implemented. So how do you marry those two? How integrated is your environment in terms of addressing the needs that you have? But look at this. All crystal reports will take you 6 weeks to build. And 64% of the managers have said that their decision window has narrowed. 42% of the professionals said you need to make data-driven decisions. But again, your choice of tools matter a lot because then organizations that do not adopt or organizations that do not adapt will definitely die. And so do you want to be one of those companies that would die? Maybe not. If you are a heritage brand like Ketepa or Unga, you don't want to be a senior manager in an institution that died while you had an opportunity to make a difference. And so as I wrap up my presentation today on how you can maximize analytic value, I would ask this question that, are you at a descriptive phase? Are you at a diagnostic phase where you're being asked, why did this happen? Or are you at a predictive analytics phase? Without a doubt, data will continue shaping the conversations going into the future. Ian, this is the place where we say, in Ketepa, it's tea time, anytime. Thank you very much. I got a seat.
Thank you, Mr. Rono. We appreciate you for such an insightful conversation. Thank you for that. And also thank you for always bringing up this particular conversation and always scaling it up. We appreciate your leadership also and the wealth of experience that you bring to this particular vertical. Thank you once again, Mr. Rono. To our viewers, we thank you for also staying engaged with us. But Mr. Rono, if you were still there, we would just like to get just one more parting shot from you to our viewers. What would be Mr. Bernard Rono's parting shot, 20 seconds parting shot to us?
I think thank you, Ian. I think my parting shot would be just one, that organizations that do not leverage on data analytics in the 21st century will certainly die. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rono. Always a wealth of experience and knowledge that we always get from you, and we appreciate your insight on that. All right, fantastic. To our viewers, thank you for staying engaged. We also equally want to get into one exciting session, and this is going to be a breakout session. We have designed 2 breakout sessions for you where we can be able to get into it. The first breakout session is going to be on AI and machine learning for predictive maintenance. Our keynote speaker for this is the Systems Infrastructure and Networks Manager, who is going to guide us on this. And our next breakout session, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be on the future of manufacturing. The future of manufacturing after redesigning the work process. That is going to be guided by our keynote speaker, who is the head of ICT and CAR at CAR General, Mr. Gilbert Mutai. Is going to take us through the second breakout session. The first breakout session is going to be on AI, machine learning for predictive maintenance. Our speaker is Mr. Kenneth Kibet, Manager Systems Infrastructure and Networks at CAR General. Ladies and gentlemen, we are looking forward. Yes, so we are going to have those 2 breakout sessions where you can be able to join those particular conversations, the first breakout and the second breakout sessions. I would like to urge our viewers to get into those breakout sessions, but before we do that, we are going to share a clip with you that is going to give you a better understanding about our magazine. We have the East Africa edition, we have the CIO West Africa edition, and also the South Africa edition that is up. Make sure that you have subscribed and you have full visibility of how you can be able to get this particular copy. You can be able to check that at our website, but we have the East Africa edition, the West Africa edition, and also the South Africa edition. As we get into the breakout session, our team is going to be able to share a video on how you can be able to get this fantastic magazine. Enjoy your breakout sessions, and my name is Ian Moirore. It has been a pleasure and an honor moderating this particular session. Thank you once again.
Showcases the abilities women take.
Just say the question again. When? Okay.
Staying alive.
I knew I wanted to be an editorial, or rather be a magazine editor, when I first saw True Love magazine on the street, and I knew that that's exactly what I wanted to do when I grew up.
It's something that grew in me since I was young. My father used to buy newspapers and I used to read them. Well, it's something that I pursued intentionally.
I have always wanted to tell people about things that they do not know. I always wanted to be the one who passes one message or another to the general public. So that's something that I've always wanted to do ever since when I was a young boy. So I can't really put a date or year.
I knew I wanted to be a journalist from a very young age. It was more of a passion. I got inspired by news anchors, the likes of Victoria Rubadiri, and journalism is a bit wide. I liked the fact that it informed people. It brought people together to a specific content that I, as a journalist, will execute and bring it to them.
When I knew I wanted to be in digital and marketing, it came to me too. Started out as tech support. So yeah, I kind of I gravitated a lot towards marketing, and I just found myself.
I think I found myself in sales, mostly because I am a people person. I'm very passionate about people and brands, so sales helps me engage more with people.
I knew when I was very young, I used to draw a lot. I've always seen my uncles and cousins draw, so I kind of fell into the whole idea then, and I've loved it ever since.
I would have been a lawyer if not a journalist.
I think I would have become a professional hockey player if hockey was serious in Kenya.
Be working in the security industry as a DCI.
If I was not a writer, I would be a lawyer because I trained for it, and I would be spectacular at it.
I would have been a basketball player, hopefully.
I probably would be a teacher.
My favorite issue would be the Alex Karanja issue. Nervous. Like I said, I really enjoyed that interview, and I think if you're watching this, you should maybe go and check out that issue and read the copy. I think the whole issue was done well with my colleagues as well. And then an honorable mention would be Betty Mwangi when she was at Jumia. It was my first cover story at CIO, and I think I was only like 3 months old at CIO Africa.
The November issue that featured 45 women, influential women in tech.
The January 2023 issue, which was for the CIO of the year, because relatively it was one of the most the issues that did so well for us in terms of marketing and whatnot. And it was also a very interesting issue to read about.
I don't have any particular issue because every issue comes with its new challenges and something to learn. It's just a continuous improvement on other subsequent issues.
If I were to interview any tech leader dead or alive, it would be Bill Gates. I would like to write a dialogue book, but not just based on tech or how he became the richest man, but all the controversies that he has been involved in, scandals that have covered his life. I would like to get his own personal account in his own words.
What I like about selling the CIO Africa magazine is the fact that I'm able to interact with people and brands to position their organizations in a tangible platform. I like to consider the CIO Africa magazine as a tangible, transformative platform for organizations and brands.
The hardest part about marketing the CIO Africa magazine in particular is just trying to the reading culture for people has really deteriorated over the years. So just trying to promote the reading culture, and of course we have amazing content in there. So just trying to highlight some of the amazing stories that we cover every month in the magazine.
If I was to give a TED talk about selling magazine advertisements, number one is make sure that you understand what the organization's dynamics are, because advertising in print is dynamic and also it's different. So it's a niche by itself. So you really have to understand the brand and its goals for you to align the organization and yourself with it.
Every magazine theme is decided by events, by the events calendar, and by the trends that are happening in the tech industry. So what informs it would be tech trends, surveys, reports, and this CIO 100 survey.
I choose it by going through a lot of online stuff. I go through Pinterest, I look through what people are doing. I pick a few ideas from everything and then kind of mash it up to make it my own design. So online, I usually go online a lot to kind of research my designs.
We follow a content calendar. So every month we know who to interview and the topics to cover. We usually adjust the calendar based on new developments in the field.
If CIO Africa hosted a dinner party, I would invite Sheryl Sandberg, Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk definitely, Phyllis Migwi, Catherine Muraga, all the CIO 100 winners.
Right now, I think I love to maybe invite Phyllis Migwi. She's a good conversationist. I think it will be a good experience going with her. There is also Tomboy Opio. These are also Kenyan. He's also a good conversationalist. I've chatted with him a couple of times in a number of events. To go globally, if he would accept Elon Musk, but he doesn't know me, so I don't think he will. There's Mark Zuckerberg, who I believe maybe I can get a chance to interview down the line. Sophia, there's a lady I once interviewed. She was called Sophia Alj. She's the founder and COO at Chari. Chari is a B2B e-commerce startup based in Morocco.
If I was to come up with a slogan for the CIO Africa magazine on the spot, it will have to be something like MAGA, which is for Make Africa Magazines Great Again, which is MAGA for MAGA, like Trump.
A theme song for the magazine, it would probably be I Know I Can Be Where I Wanna Be. The reason for that is because CIO Africa magazine and also other CIO Africa products, it gives you the hope that you can make it big, you know, in the tech space, especially in Africa. So that would be my song.
We Are the World by Almost All Stars, the Michael Jackson, Lionel Richie, that version. We are the world, we are the chill, because it's a revolutionary song, and I think what we do here is something that is revolutionary, and I think that song will will help, will bring that message clearer.
Ha, 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 staying alive, staying alive.
Tupac, All Eyes on Me.
All I Do Is Win by DJ Khaled.
Seven cameras, 4 mixers, 4 switches, state-of-the-art audio equipment, a beast of a rack that does live stream, a team of 21 with 7 leading the pack. This is what it takes to do a DX5 production.
My name is Harry Hare.
Gerald Mushai. Ian Oaga.
James Njoroge, aka Sense from the East.
Gwen Mudui, aka Marshall.
Zagutudan, aka Chulo.
William Buru, Customer Success Manager, aka Will Kista.
I'm a technical lead at DX5 Studio.
Director of Photography, stroke line producer, and technical lead.
I handle visuals for production in the studio, and I'm the studio lead for the team that does production at DX5.
Sound engineer for DX5.
Publisher and the chairman of DX5. If I could not be in this profession, whereby I'm a video content creator, I would be mostly in the travel agency, something like that, yeah.
I would have been an actor.
I'll be a rugby player, position scrum off.
Be an accountant.
If not in sound artistry, I think I'll be a farmer. Sound in general, I think it was in high school. We used to do Sunday services, and at the time we only had like a mixer and a PA system, and no one was courageous enough to go and learn about it. So I just took it up because I was also in the IT department.
Lord of the Rings. So that whole series made me fall in love with production. The behind the scenes, the imaginary things those guys do, the camera works, the scenes, all those things.
In terms of that is the best event we've held at DX5. I can't say and pinpoint one because each event is different depending on agenda and in terms of agenda and that is execution is totally different. So each event is unique on its own way.
So at the moment, my favorite is the Africa CISO Summit, which was the first of its kind here in Africa. And we really enjoyed the event. It was the production aspect of it was perfect. And in terms of also marketing the event, we really achieved a lot of success.
FinTech Summit, which this year we are calling it Smart Banking. I have eGov and CI100.
CI100 has been because of the experience at the coast, the work relationship, the adventure at the same time. It was a wholesome.
We have learnings from the previous CI100 events. We implement them, make the next one look bigger, and the fact that it's usually off location, far from Nairobi, it means we have to go explore new areas, new locations, new venues.
I think all events have been my best events. And why it's been like that is because we've built a culture of improving what we do from one event to the next event.
The most satisfying part is at the end of the event when you have accomplished, or an example, when you have a problem. So when we handle our events, we usually have plan Bs, plan Cs, plan Ds, just in case anything happens. So the most satisfying bit is when you see plan A has failed and plan B just picks up and the event continues seamlessly and it works. I think that is one of the most satisfying moments when you do not have downtime at all.
So first, what keeps us, what set us apart from the other guys is, we were a one-stop shop from concept to execution.
Typical workflow would be Reke. We'd have to do the Reke. I had to get some calculations first in check, and then on the day of setup, the first thing I would do is to first of all set up the landscape, and then I would do a sound. I'd have to tune the PA system after setup, and that requires me to use an RTA microphone, and from there just do a normal sound check, and then we are rock and rolling, and we are on live.
So what happens during production is, first of all, the event has to come. You have to know the events. We usually want to know the events 2-3 months before for planning. So the event comes, we sit down with the creative team, come up with a theme and elements for how the look and feel of the event will be. We do tests in the studio before we head out. If it's a live event, we have a studio here. We do tests before. We usually have an internal studio test and Reke, and then we go out to the venue, check out the venue for electricity, for internet, how the room or how people will sit, do all those things, come back, link up with the social media department, link up with the guest engagement team and all those things. And then we come and we have our own designer who designs the whole room. And so there we set up the cameras on the design, we set up the lights, the sound, all those things are created here, and then we go and duplicate that at the event venue. And then we set up, obviously, a day before the event, or 2 days depending, or 3 days depending on the magnitude of the event. And then we do tests again and Rekes for the whole event before now the event is kicked off.
The studio, the production unit, the way you see it today, is actually as a result of us looking for solution, looking for innovation, for us to be able to continue connecting people during COVID, because nobody could go. We're not allowed to attend events, so people cannot come together. But we've taken it upon ourselves as our sole objective is to connect people. So how do you connect people when you can't have physical events? That's what actually created the studio.
Our studio is important because we basically use our studio in all our events, basically because our events are virtual. We have physical events. They also do webinars for us. They also do podcasts. There's project mapping.
My department really has no choice but to work closely with studio, and we've enjoyed a remarkable teamwork between the two teams to make sure every event that we do is very well executed in terms of any graphics they might need from our end, or anything they might need to just make the event bigger.
The thing that I enjoy mostly about my work is going outside, capturing moments and making those moments become one full thing whereby people can see and enjoy what they're seeing, or the moments they stay in their mind.
The easiest part about selling studio is that we have all equipment. I believe we've invested heavily. The company has invested heavily, and so it's easy to do anything that our clients need in regards to production. And also the team that we have is perfect for the studio.
I think the hardest part while producing the X5 events for us guys in the studio is, actually it's not hard, but it's challenging. We usually put ourselves or set the bar high. So in the next event, you have to surpass that bar. So coming up with a better version of the previous event sometimes may seem challenging, but at the end of the day, we usually overcome.
Feedback. Feedback is a beast on its own. It is something that actually just is a headache for all sound engineers. But in our events, I find that everything else is a matter of finding the problem and fixing it. But feedback is a constant beast that you just have to fight it every time. And once you just have it in check, then you're good.
So there's the format of the videos and also the timelines. And also sometimes the look and feel of the brand.
Between camera work and editing, I don't have both. I enjoy both of them because usually before I go for an event, I usually research about shots, what other people outside are doing there, other content creators who usually use gimbals. So I usually learn the skills from them and also from my teammates. They usually give me ideas on how to do my gimbal shots and capturing moments. So before I go for an event, I usually picture myself, picture how the end product of the video will be, so that when I go for the event, I usually know what I'm supposed to do or what kind of shots I'm doing. So I don't have like a favorite. Both of them are combined.
The music that gets me in the mood is more rumba, because I like it, take it slow, because now once I go in, brain needs to cool down.
I'm a piano music, any day, any time.
Motivational hip-hop rap.
Jazz. It takes me into a zen moment where, it brings out the sensitivities that I need to have in an event, and especially if I have to be speaking or have to do the opening, which a lot of the time the team throws me under the bus to do it. So I have to have that zen moment where I can get into the swing of things.
So the goats in terms of artistry and sound engineering, I'd have to say Mike Dean. Mike Dean mostly is not an artist, but production-wise and the term of executive production he does, is just OP in my regards.
There's 1 hour, and I keep on telling the team. I think Dan and Gerard, I kept on telling them that 1 hour just before the event is when everything can go haywire. So yes, that 1 hour. That's when now everybody needs to be on top of their game. Everybody needs to bring in their A game 1 hour before any event, because that's where everything goes haywire.
My superstition mostly is when I leave one detail, because when I leave one detail that is gonna be used in the event, I usually have a really bad day because I know that I've messed up big time. Yeah.
I always have to carry a pair of headsets. If I leave my pair of headsets, that event already for me is off the books. It's not gonna go well.
What I believe or what I know is essential for the success of any production is assets. And the most important asset is the team. For example, the park we enjoy our work, and each person knows their roles, and each person knows what it is they're supposed to do. So we enjoy our work, we love our work. You have to be passionate about what you do, and you have to agree and know that you coexist with other people in a certain unit. So what is essential is actually being passionate about what you do and know that you coexist with other people and love your work. If you come see us while we're doing our work, especially during setups and setdowns, it's usually fun. It's like a party. It's like we've gone for a concert. I think that is what defines and makes a production work, the asset of having a good team.
For attending our event. As always, we want to appreciate you for showing up. We never take it for granted that you come and attend our events. I would also like to thank the speakers who came here. We don't take your knowledge sharing for granted either. And you did a fine job. And you have basically lit up a fire under the smart manufacturing industry in Kenya and Africa, I hope, because we had speakers from as far as Nigeria. So up next will be SmartGov. It will take place in July. And if you want to be a speaker or a sponsor or an attendee, please reach out to us. And more than that, we would like for you to attend that event because we want to have conversations there as well as powerful as the ones we've had today that will shape the future of SmartGov. Please buy a copy of our magazine and subscribe to CIO Africa. Our current cover is Philip Thigo, the special envoy on technology. You can get to read his story, find out what it is that he actually does. And on top of that, you get to know what the leadership in the continent is doing when it comes to technology. Thank you so much for staying tuned, for staying with us till the end. If you have any feedback, please don't hesitate to share it. We would love to hear from you. And we wish you a good afternoon and a good rest of the week and an awesome weekend. Thank you and goodbye.
If you joined us last year, I know you enjoyed SmartGov Summit that we held last year. It was our first edition. Hopefully you can join us this year in July 24th and 25th for the second edition of the SmartGov Summit, which promises to be bigger than last year, promises to ensure that it captures the cutting edge issues of this year. And we know artificial intelligence is really at the center of this, digital transformation, and how companies and countries can be future ready, how you yourself can be future ready around how you skill and upskill so that you are prepared for this revolution. See you.